Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Now with the main headlines. Grand Ayatollah Shirazi says that Arba'in Ziyarah takes place on Arba'in Day only, but some narrations expand it. Saudi Arabia pursues roadmap to destroy Shi'i villages. Recent Bollywood production raises concerns about increasing hatred against Muslims. Imam Hussein Media Group covering Arba'in walk for the 13th consecutive year. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear viewers. This is Shia Waves and you're watching Imam Hussein TV 3. The daily scholarly meeting of Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq al-Hussein al-Shirazi was held on Wednesday the 28th of Muharram, 1444 after Hijrah. In this session, like the previous meetings, the Marja answered the questions of the attendees about various jurisprudence issues. Grand Ayatollah Shirazi discussed time and virtue of Arba'in pilgrimage and said that the Arba'in Ziyarah happens on the day of Arba'in, not the day before, not the day after, not even the night of Arba'in. However, based on certain jurisprudential details, my opinion and the fatwa of the most jurists is that there can be a legitimate expansion for all acts of mustahab in terms of place, time and other aspects. And Arba'in Ziyarah is one of these cases. His Eminence also went to say that, for example, if someone went on the Ziyarah shortly before the day of Arba'in but could not stay on this day or arrived a few days after Arba'in, jurisprudential evidence indicates that this is acceptable as long as the gap is accepted by the collective common sense of the faithful, as in other acts of mustahab. He further emphasized that such permissible gap approved by the collective common sense of the faithful includes a few days before or a few days after, not that someone goes for ziyarah on the first month of Safar or in the month of Rabi'. Grand Ayatollah Shirazi also continues that within these circumstances, the effects and the rewards for such a ziyarah are similar to the night prayer, which although its best time is midnight, but if it's not recited before midnight or during the day for some reasons, the reward of the night prayer is awarded. Let's watch the words of Grand Ayatollah Shirazi.
قدری که ارتکاز متشرعه قبول میکنه، یعنی میگه رفته زیارت اربعین، نرسید روز اربعین، فرداش پس فرداش یکی 2-3 روز یا 2-3 روز قبلش چون کار داره نمیتونه بمونه اربعین، اینا از اون توسعه‌ای که از مختلف جزئیات برداشت شده، برداشت من اینه. بله قاعدش اینه دیگه. بله مثل نماز شب را که قبل نیمه شب بخونه یا نماز شب را که روز. عبادات توقیفیه، شکی نیست، اما در مستحبات از عبادات همینی که عرض کردم. صلی الله علی محمد و آله.
According to the latest reports, the authorities of Saudi Arabia are destroying the Shi'i areas under their perspective of industrial projects in order to destroy the integrity of the Shi'i society. Political activists suggest that the nature of the Qatif oil field expansion project is a Saudi agenda to displace the people of Qatif and consequently tear apart the social fabric of this region. This will eventually leave the Shia population of this area scattered in the Arabian Peninsula. These critics cite that the destruction of Al-Masura area and forcing of its residents to live in Sunni areas such as Al-Khubar, Jumail, Dammam, Riyadh and Jeddah to point out that the goal of the Saudi authorities in these developments is to break up the united Shi'i society and to cut off the relationship between the current generation and the past future generations. It should be mentioned that Saudi Arabia divided Qatif province into eastern and western parts in April 2022. The western side is now called Bayza province and the eastern side remained as Qatif. The film Kerala Story, which began its release in India in May, is the second highest grossing Indian film of 2023, which tells the story of a Hindu woman who converted to Islam and then became an extremist. Critics believe that this film is trying to defame Muslims and to spread fake news about them, especially near the elections. It is said that the teaser of this film, called Anti-Muslims, is inspired by many true stories and shows the lives of innocent girls who are victims of trafficking with the aim of making them terrorists. In other words, this low-cost film depicts jihadi love in an attempt to suggest Hindus being seduced by Muslims with the aim of spreading Islamist terrorism. The production date of the film also goes back to the publication of false claim that 32,000 Hindu and Christian women were recruited by ISIS from the state of Kerala located in southern India. Critics believe that the film seeks to pit India's various communities against each other in the run-up to the 2024 national elections, raising concerns that the Bollywood industry will become a tool for the propaganda ahead of next year's elections. Meanwhile, an Indian journalist told AFP that during Mr. Modi's tenure as Prime Minister, several films with divisive messages were broadcasted and that reinforced the prejudices of political leaders from this point of view. These films, like these politicians themselves, have installed hatred against religious minorities in the people. Let's remind our viewers of today's headlines. Grand Ayatollah Shirazi says that Arba'in Ziyarah takes place on Arba'in Day only, but some narrations expand it. Saudi Arabia pursues roadmap to destroy Shia areas. Recent Bollywood production raises concerns about increasing hatred against Muslims. Also tonight, Islamic State group still poses serious threat in Syria, Iraq and Afghanistan, UN experts say. For the 13th consecutive year, Imam Hussein TV will have the honour to narrate the historical event of the massive Arba'in walk through live coverage. The annual historical event of the Arba'in procession from Basra, which is located 500 kilometers from the holy city of Karbala, has already begun this year with the increased splendour. The 6 televisionists of Imam Hussein Media Group have started the live broadcast of this event, which is known as the largest annual religious gathering in the world. It should be mentioned that the live broadcast of the Arba'in walk, as well as other feature programs related to this event, will be aired in Persian, Arabic, English, Turkish and Urdu languages until the 20th day of Safar al-Ahzan. And now we'll continue with some short news. The Turkish news agency Anadolu Agency published photographs showing large numbers of Iraqi pilgrims walking towards the holy city of Karbala to participate in the commemoration of the Arba'in of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. In its report seen by Shia Waves agency and its headlined, Shi'is of Iraq travel nearly 745 kilometers to keep the memory of Arba'in alive. It is said that these people have coverage on Ras al-Bisha in Basra, Iraq, where they begin their on-foot journey towards the holy city of Karbala. It should be mentioned that the millions of Shia Muslims will arrive in the holy city of Karbala to commemorate the Arba'in pilgrimage amid tight security procedures and service processions to provide the honourable pilgrims with their needs. Since the beginning of the Arba'in massive walk in the Iraqi city of Basra, Arab and foreign media have increased press coverage of the ceremonies of this massive pilgrimage. This is the first year that these media outlets cover the religious ceremonies of the Arba'in walk, while in previous years their coverage was conducted only on the 20th of the month of Safar, which marks the Blessed Ziyarah. Under the heading, "When is the Arba'in of 2023?" many Arab and foreign newspapers published reports introducing this event to their followers and when it will be commemorated. These newspapers reported that the Arba'in will reach its peak on Friday the 16th of September, coinciding to 20th of Safar, and will continue for the next day. The media reports concluded that the Arba'in is one of the most important festivals that Muslims in general and Shias in particular commemorate to recall the 40 days after the painful incident of Ashura, the martyrdom of Imam Hussein, his family members and loyal companions alayhim as-salam. A recently published report highlights the startling fact that around 25% of humanity, approximately 1.9 billion people, are living in regions facing extreme water stress. These areas are characterized by an immense scarcity of fresh water, leaving communities vulnerable to inadequate water supply, compromised sanitation, and debilitating impacts on agriculture, industries, ecosystems, and other ecosystems. Regions such as the Middle East, North Africa, and parts of Asia are already grappling with the devastating consequences of water scarcity, resulting in social unrest, mass migrations, and economic setbacks. As global temperatures rise and weather patterns become more erratic, precipitation patterns are changing, leading to an altered water availability in many regions. Glacial melt, an essential source of water for numerous communities, is accelerating due to rising temperatures, putting further strain on already overburdened water resources, with urban populations projected to grow in the coming decades. The strain on available water supplies will escalate, risking even more communities facing water scarcity. More than 4 million Sudanese citizens have been driven away from their homes, seeking refuge in overcrowded camps, makeshift settlements, and neighboring countries. These displaced individuals face dire living conditions, lack of access to basic services such as clean water, sanitation, and healthcare, and are at heightened risk of malnutrition and disease. Children displaced from their homes have lost access to education, proper nutrition, and stable living environments. The trauma they will endure will have long-lasting impacts on their physical and mental well-being, as well as on the future stability of the nation. Humanitarian organizations and aid agencies are working tirelessly on the ground to provide assistance, but their efforts are constrained by the sheer scale of the crisis and the limited resources unavailable. UN asks that the world must listen, act, and work collectively to bring about an end to the suffering and pave the way for a more stable, peaceful, and secure future for the people of Sudan. At least 68 people have died after a boat carrying migrants was found floating off the coast of Cape Verde in Atlantic Ocean. 38 people, including 4 children aged 12 to 16, have been rescued from the fishing boat which left Senegal in July. Reports from the local authorities and international agencies have been limited and somewhat conflicting, making it challenging to determine what actually happened. However, it is clear that the boat faced perilous conditions, possibly including rough seas, unsettlement of weather, or navigational challenges. Humanitarian organizations, including the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, the UNHCR, and the International Organization for Migration, expressed their concerns and offered assistance to both the survivors and the local authorities involved in rescue efforts. Recent reports from United Nations experts indicate that the group has managed to adapt to changing circumstances, exploiting regional instability and employing new tactics to maintain its presence and influence in Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. The terrorist group has re-emerged as a nimble and dangerous insurgency capable of conducting hit-and-run attacks, suicide bombings, and guerrilla warfare. UN experts highlight that ISIS has been able to capitalize on local grievances, exploiting the disillusionment and dissatisfaction present in these conflict-ridden regions. The UN's findings highlight that ISIS has effectively leveraged local dynamics, sectarian tensions, and tribal rivalries to further its objectives. By infiltrating communities, it seeks to manipulate and influence them to its advantage, thereby securing a foothold that could potentially lead to broader resurgence. UN experts emphasize that the Islamic State's shift in tactics and propaganda strategies to maintain its global reach and relevance. While its online presence has been curtailed through concerted efforts by governments and tech companies, the group has adapted by resorting to encrypted communication platforms and smaller, more discreet online forums. The municipality of Holy City of Karbala revealed yesterday, that Wednesday, that it has laid its service plans for the coming Arba'in pilgrimage. The municipality's director, Hassan Al-Sharifi, said in a statement followed by Shia Waves agency that the municipal directorate has put development a new service plan for this year's due to the increasing numbers of pilgrims. He also added that this year's plans included more than 500 dust cards and 1,000 waste containers to be distributed all over the city centre, adding that around 8,000 cleaners will be deployed to take part in the cleaning campaign. Al-Sharifi concluded that the municipal directorate has also allocated places for the medical vehicles for emergencies, in addition to places to transport pilgrims. We have reached the end of today's Shia Waves show. Let's remind our viewers of today's headlines. Grand Ayatollah Shirazi says that Arba'in Ziyara takes place on Arba'in Day only, but some narrations expand it. Saudi Arabia pursues roadmap to destroy Shia areas. Recent Bollywood production raises concerns about increasing hatred against Muslims. Imam Hussein Media Group covering Arba'een walk for the 13th consecutive year. Islamic State group still poses serious threat in Syria, Iraq and Afghanistan, the UN experts say. The municipality of the holy city of Karbala reveals service plans for the Arba'een pilgrimage. You can view the latest news on our website, or you can send news of your city or country to be published on our news agency. Contact us on the numbers at the bottom of the screen. This is the end of today's news. Thank you for watching, and we pray to Allah the Almighty to hasten the reappearance of the Master of our time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I am a symbol of faith and a symbol of hope. None can compare to my splendor. Many travel miles from far and wide to see me. They come with their